Oh, lovely stuff. Stick around. We have more culinary hotline action heading your way in just a little bit later on in your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Right now, though, we are turning the spotlight onto our little ones, and we all know that kids aren't always able to verbalize exactly how they are feeling, and sometimes stress and anxiety can manifest in other types of symptoms this morning. While we think about it as parents, it can be very overwhelming. We don't want you to stress about this conversation at all because it is something that is real. But there are solutions as well. And we are this morning going to be unpacking different ways to provide that support. And we do that through the power of care, of course. And joining us this morning to delve into this topic, we have registered counsellor and mom, Shanaz Moo. Shanaz, lovely to have you. I'm glad we're shining the spotlight on the little ones, particularly with stress and anxiety, because I can't tell you with my boys as well. You know, all the things that are happening at school and the workload and the stress, you know, there's so many things that can happen. And sometimes we as parents, we just don't get it. So firstly, I think let's start off unpacking the difference between stress and anxiety.
Okay, good morning. The stress is particularly linked to an event or situation. So you are very concerned about it. You know, you want it to be over, you're having difficulty. Anxiety is like an overall worry, which isn't linked to a specific event. You're just worried and stressed. That's where stress comes in. Stress is actually like a build-up into anxiety. So people often use the word together. Stress is anxiety, but we experience stress when we're struggling with something, and if it continues without relief, right, we end up with anxiety about it. So it's almost like knowing the two and knowing when to step in also and knowing when to help our kids, you know, to differentiate between the two.
Yeah, look, and our kids, I mean, there's a lot of pressure placed on them, especially from a young age, going into school, the amount of work, the workload. What are some of the scenarios that can trigger stress and anxiety, particularly that comes to mind for you?
Yeah, one of the bigger ones is, we're talking about earlier on, academic pressure. Like from as little as grade R and grade 1, kids are feeling stressed about schoolwork.
And overwhelmed.
It's too much. There's too much for them to do. The other thing is too many activities, like extramurals. They go straight from school, straight to the next, so there's overscheduling. The other part is also they struggle with social situations, lack of friends or bullying. So those are the kind of things. And then another important one is family struggles or parents' difficulties financially or emotionally or in the marriage. So those things impact kids as well.
Yeah, and I think where we parents need to be on top of it is the fact that we know that, you know, children aren't always able to vocalize exactly how they feel. And because of that, it can manifest into other types of symptoms, headaches, stomach aches, all those kind of things, right?
Yeah, definitely. There's the physical symptoms, like you mentioned, the headaches, the stomach cramps, nausea, dizziness. But there's also the behavioral symptoms, where we see kids are acting out aggressively. They are refusing to go to school. So their behaviors change. They're either lacking the appetite or they're overeating. They either don't want to sleep or they're sleeping too much. So there's a disturbance in their routine that's visible to you as a parent if you're paying attention.
Exactly, but that's exactly it. I think we as parents, and I mean, it's difficult to navigate this. It's something that we learn along the lines and, you know, monitoring our children and see. But how can we then as parents, especially when it comes to the physical symptoms, help provide that dose of care?
Yeah, you know, I think that a lot of us don't manage our own stress well. So, you know, learning the coping mechanisms for us first and then modeling it to our kids. And one of the ways is breathing, teaching kids how to bring themselves back to their bodies by using their breath. There's different ways you can do it. One of the other ways is the grounding technique, where you ask them to, you know, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which is the senses, what they hear, what they taste, what they see, what they smell, so that brings them also back. So that brings their brain back down, calms their nervous system, which is also a really good one.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes it does escalate and we deal with things like fevers and headaches, and that stems from anxiety and stress. So, I mean, immediately you will think like, oh my goodness, my kid has got a fever, it's skyrocketing. I mean, what do you do in those situations?
Obviously, sometimes you can treat the symptoms. You can give them some things that will treat a fever or a stomach ache. But also that's the physical part. Make sure you're dealing with the mental and emotional part of what's causing. So the stress does cause those symptoms in your body. So you deal with the one, okay, here's help with your cramps, but then let's talk about what's causing. That's the part that they need a little bit more help with. Let's talk about why you're having headaches every morning or stomach cramps every morning. And just before school, it's probably linked to school, or there's a test or something, or a bullying incident. If you link it closely to each other, it's probably a tell sign for you.
I know we've been through it as a family as well, when the kiddos wake up in the morning and their stomach aches and they do physically feel feverish and you think they're sick, but then you realize, man, there's a big mondeling at school that needs to take place, or a task or a project that they need to comply with. Just an overall general health in terms of parents, what are your tips to support our little ones?
I think that we need to manage our stress better. We need to model what healthy living looks like, with proper self-care, with boundaries around our time so we don't feel overwhelmed. And also what we want our kids to have, we need to have first. So whatever it is we're wanting them to manage, let's us manage it first. And the other important thing is to let go of perfection for parents. Don't expect too much from yourself and your kids, and model making mistakes deliberately so you can take them through, oh my word, I made a mistake. Okay, let me try again. So you're talking out loud.
Yeah, be
so
upfront and honest.
Yeah, and it's not like a faking thing. You actually made a mistake. So you're going through the process out loud so the child's saying, Mommy makes mistakes. Okay, oh, look what she's doing next. Okay.
Yeah.
Besides just teaching it to them, you're actually modeling your own trial and error experience for them.
Exactly. Shanaz, thank you very much for joining us. Always lovely to see you. And there we have it, understanding that sometimes you have the key to help your kids navigate life, alleviate some of the stresses and concerns you may have as a parent. And it's all in the power of care.
Introducing PANADO Pediatric Syrup 5ml sachets. They're really convenient to pack and easy to use, so you're always prepared for pain and fever, anytime, anywhere.